More about that later. But to start off, I just want you to know what Sunday Assembly is all about. It's about living better, helping often, and wondering more. And that's why we're all here. We're here to do that together, to build community, to get to know each other, bump elbows. Sometimes we're going to piss each other off. Sometimes we're going to laugh together. But that's what community is about. And to help us do that, everyone loves a song. So we've got the Sunday Assembly Band with the band leader, Erin Manthe, my fiance. Beautiful, smart, talented. She's also really into math. You're going to hear about that later. We've also got Hertzy Hertz here, a vocalist. Ryan on guitar. And the wonderful, talented, brilliant David Norris on the keys. So, take it away, band. Please stand up and join us as we sing our favorite song.
In the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always welcoming. You want to be where you can see your troubles are all safe. You want to be where everybody knows your name. Finding the place to belong today and see you lose again. Nowhere to go like the dorm in college, it's never quite the same. Let all your friends throw away. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see your troubles are all safe. You want to be where everybody knows your name. Being with friends is a lesson in addiction of the heart. Whether it's 2 or 3, the sum is greater than its parts. And you don't have to show your worth. Don't you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always listening? You want to be where you can see your troubles are all safe. You want to be where everybody knows your name.
And thank you, band. So, next up here, Matthew Hertz has an icebreaker to share with all of us.
The suspense is killing you, I know. That's all right. Woo! Okay, how many of you were here for the first Sunday Assembly? Raise your hand. Awesome. Okay, you remember the game we played, Rock, Paper, Scissors Championship? Yeah, that's not what we're going to do. Well, actually, we are going to do that, sort of. Instead of rock, paper, scissors, though, we're going to do a championship called Odds and Evens, where people, like rock, paper, scissors, the game Odds and Evens, you put one hand behind your back, and you put anywhere from 0 to 5 fingers out, okay? And you go to someone else and you agree one of you is odd and one of you is even.
You're God.
I'm odd. I'm odd.
You guys agree?
Stereotyping. Okay, so I'm odd, you're even, and we go 1, 2, 3. And we put our fingers out. And if it adds up to an even number, I win. If it odd number. See, I'm odd, that's why. If it adds up to an even number, he wins. And then I become Matt's champion, and I walk around saying, "Go, Matt! Go, Matt! Go, Matt!" Until he finds somebody else who is a winner,
Odd or even?
and they do the game over again.
You're odd? I'll be odd this time.
Okay, you're odd. 1, 2, 3. It's odd. Matt wins again. Now Dylan and I are both his champion. He's our champion, so we follow him. And it goes and goes until there's only 2 people in the room left who are winners. And they have an odd-even standoff. Okay? Any questions? All right, let's do it. Grab a partner and do an odd and even. Odd or even? Even, okay. 1, 2, 3. Oh, go for it. Okay, find somebody. Find someone. Who's the winner? Who's the winner? Go. Okay.
Bring it on. 1, 2, 3.
Go Neil! Go down.
You got it.
That was fun.
Right, have a seat everybody. Thank you very much for playing our odd and even game.
We're gonna have the giant sound. Are you guys ready to sing again? Yeah. Woo!
Stand up, please, if you'd like.
Gonna rock it out again. One more song. 2 more songs.
Right, any there might be Giants fans in the house?
Woo, good.
I can count to 5, I can count to 10. I count on my nose 100 times, I'm well not there. 20 is easy and 100 no sweat. But there's one number I just can't get.
Any OK Go fans in the house? Okay, so for this one, we need your help to do this. So first thing, we need a drum beat. So here's what we're gonna do. Stomp, clap, stomp, clap, stomp, clap. Great. All right, so teach you the beginning of the chorus. No, the beginning of the verse, which goes like this. No, you can't keep letting it get you down. Here we go. 3, 4. No, you can't keep letting it get you down. 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 All right, awesome. So we also need some backup singers. So we need some oohs. So I'm going to have this table, everyone from here, you in the green shirt back. Actually, yeah, like everyone on this side. We're going to go. Awesome. I need to teach you. I'm going to teach you the bridge of this, which will come back. Let it go, this too shall pass. Let it go, this too shall pass. Okay. And then we're going to have everyone on this side, you over here, we're going to have to do that. No, you can't keep letting it get you down. You can't keep letting it get you down. No, you can't keep letting it get you down. You can't keep letting it get you down. And you find people, you get the chorus. It goes, when the morning comes, when the morning comes, when the morning comes, when the morning comes. Now you, the ooers, so keep doing that. But when
The morning comes, when the morning comes, when the morning comes, when the morning comes, when the morning comes, when the morning comes, when the morning comes, when the morning comes, when the morning comes, when the morning comes.
you've got it. No, you can't keep letting it get you down, and you can't keep dragging dead weight around. If there ain't much to lug around, better run like hell when you hit the ground. When the morning comes, when the morning comes, you can't stop these kids from dancing. Why would you want to, especially when you're already getting yours? Cause if your mind don't move and your knees don't bend, well, don't go playing the kids again. Okay, here we go. When the morning comes. Awesome. When the morning comes. When the morning comes. Or a little faster. When the morning comes. When the morning comes. When the morning comes. All right, here we go. Let it go, this too shall pass. Let it go, this
So that was fun. Give it up for the band. Woohoo! Thanks, Dad. That was a lot of fun. So next we have, I just want you to know that our theme today is kind of wonder about math. You might have caught that a little bit from our second song. And our Sunday Assembly program kind of comes from London, where Sunday Assembly started. And part of that, we have a reading before our cup. So today we have Matthew reading a little bit of a reading called Numbers. Thanks, Matthew.
Standing right next to this monitor really bothers me. I'm afraid I'm going to get blown away. I have a poem I wanted to share with you about numbers, and it's called Numbers by Mary Cornish. I like the generosity of numbers. The way, for example, they are willing to count anything or anyone. 2 pickles, 1 door to a room, 8 dancers dressed as swans. I like the domesticity of addition. Add 2 cups of milk and stir. The sense of plenty, 6 plums on the ground, 3 more falling from a tree. And multiplication's school of fish times fish, whose silver bodies breathe beneath the shadow of a boat. Even subtraction is not a loss, just addition somewhere else. 5 sparrows, take away 2, the 2 in someone else's garden now. There's an amplitude to long division as it opens Chinese takeout box by paper box. Inside every folded cookie, a new fortune. And I never fail to be surprised by the gift of an odd remainder, footloose at the end. 47 divided by 11 is 4, with 3 remaining. 3 boys beyond their mother's call. 2 Italians off to sea. 1 sock that isn't anywhere you look.
All right, thank you for reading that here. Now, we have our speaker for today. And just so you know a little bit, kind of how we've been getting the speakers is just from our own ranks, but we're looking for any speakers. So if you know anybody from the university or like a TED Talks that's from Minneapolis or something like that, or a topic that you're interested in, shoot us a line if you know somebody that would be willing to share at Sunday Assembly. I'll help you with the mic in a second here. But I want to introduce my fiance. She's wonderful. She also has a degree in manufacturing engineering. And then after she got that degree, she realized, I kind of want something else. So she went and got another degree in math. And then she decided, you know what, I really love teaching. So she's a math instructor at Dakota County Technical College. And she has a really challenging job because she teaches remedial math to adults. So it's all the students are, range from never learning the math when they're in school to like 10 years later, never been into school, now they're going back. And so Erin's really passionate about math, she loves it, and she wants to share that with us. So welcome Erin to the stage today. Hi, Dad. Wow.
Okay, so why did I decide to title my presentation, How to Make Friends with Math? Well, obviously, as Matt said, I'm a math instructor, and almost every time I introduce myself as such, at least one person in the group says, "Ugh, I suck at math," and I'm just not a math person. Anyone here been that person when I've said something like that? Yes. So I found that math is a subject that needs friends. So I'm going to help you. And I also find it interesting because I think it is one of these subjects that needs friends a little more than other subjects. For instance, I was in a work meeting not that long ago, and one of my colleagues, a well-educated individual, I was explaining a basic algebra problem related to our curriculum, and she sighs in the middle of my statement and says, "Now that's just kind of math I don't get." So here's someone who's educated saying that they also find math appalling, and I thought, what if I were to say, "Oh, I just don't get 8 parts of speech," or "I'm just not a reader." As much as I'm a math educator, I think my peers would rightly feel that maybe I wasn't capable for the job. And I'm not saying here that more social pressure is the way to encourage us to be friends with math, but I do wish it wasn't so easy to make it our enemy. I'm not the only one. There was an article in the Atlantic magazine not too long ago, well, a couple years ago, but it basically talked about the idea of not being a math person, and it has this to say. The idea that math ability is mostly genetic is one dark facet of a larger fallacy that intelligence is mostly genetic. Academic psychology journals are well stocked with papers studying the worldview and that lies behind the kind of self-fulfilling prophecy we just described. So a study was done where they were asked people 2 different questions, or asked to describe their view of intelligence. And the first one was, you have a certain amount of intelligence and you really can't do much to change it. And then the second theory was, you can always greatly change how intelligent you are. And they found that the students who felt the second view of intelligence was true were more likely to do better in school, have higher grades, and outperform their peers. And they took that one step further. They actually went to Carol Dweck and some of her psychologist friends actually went to a group of poor minority students and junior high students. Excuse me. And convinced them that the second statement was true. They spent some time convincing them the statement was true. And not only did they see that their grades went up when they realized that the locus of control was in their hands, also improved their attitudes. Dweck reported that some of her tough junior high school boys were reduced to tears by the news that their intelligence was substantially under their control. Because the reality is it's no picnic being believing that you are dumb and you're doomed to fail. If you have that viewpoint, it's very hard. And the reality, it's also not true. You don't have to be stuck. And they've actually proven that IQ itself can be improved with hard work. So, all right, but let's try to make math a little friendly. So with that in mind, some reasons that you should consider being friends with math. The first one that we hear a lot is that math is practical. 17% of job growth is in STEM-related fields. STEM is science, technology, engineering, math, which compares to about 9% in non-STEM fields. The average salary of someone with a math major is $94,000. That's after about 10 years in. So, and 94% of all jobs require some form of math. So there's a practical rationale. The reality is, when you're a junior high kid, this may not mean much to you, but these are some statistics that are out there. Another idea on making math friendly is that it's relevant. Math helps you do some basic tasks, balancing a checkbook, calculating sales prices, and figuring out the odds in a competitive game. I'm sure you've maybe heard the joke already that the lottery is a tax on people who don't know math. There you go. But the one that I really want to spend the most time talking about is the fact that math is fascinating. The thing is, what we are interested in and what we study is based on what our interests are, not necessarily what's practical. To that note, my salary is nowhere near the average math major's salary, so it's not working out on that level anyway. Okay. So the thing is, for instance, we find that kids who like football have no problem memorizing all the different players and the statistics regarding that. They just do it because they enjoy it. We read poetry because we enjoy that. And so I want to try to turn the tables around a little bit and think of some ways that math can actually be fascinating on its own. So first of all, we have the Fibonacci sequence. And Fibonacci was a mathematician in the 12th century, and he was looking at rabbit populations, and he observed that in the first month there was one pair of rabbits, and then in the second month there was there's still one pair, and then the third month you have 2 pairs, fourth month there was 3 pairs, and the 5th month there was 5 pairs, and he figured out that there's sort of a mathematical relationship between each of these numbers, and it's actually just the relationship of addition. So if you go to the next slide, you can see that if we start with 0 and 1, we add those together, we get the next number. 0 plus 1 is 1. And then if we add the last 2 numbers, 1 and 1, we'll get the next number, which is 2. And if we add 1 and 2, we'll get 3. 2 and 3, we'll get 5. 3 and 5, we'll get 8. And 5 and 8, we'll get 13. So that's how you build this Fibonacci sequence. It's just an addition situation pattern. And if we continue that sequence out, these are the numbers that we get. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, and so on and so on. We won't see too many beyond 34 in my presentation, but I wanted to show you that this is an infinite sequence. All right, so we see these numbers in nature, and you can see that the number of petals in a flower are almost always a Fibonacci number. They could also be a Lucas number, but we'll get to that. We won't get there. But anyway, we have an example of a flower with 1 petal, 2 petals, 3 petals, 5 petals, 8 petals, 13, and 21. And I won't go into the details of it, but there's actually a mathematical reason that happens too. It's just not just like I found some flowers and they all happen to fit with this number pattern, but there's actually a good rationale for why that happens, but we'll keep the presentation relatively short. Okay, so moving on, we're going to take a ratio between the Fibonacci numbers in order. So the first 2 Fibonacci numbers are 1 and 1. If we take a ratio of 1 to 1, it's 1. And ratio is just another word for divide. So 1 divided by 1 is 1.0. And then the next 2 divided by 1 is 2.0. 3 divided by 2, 1.5. 5 divided by 3, 1.66. Repeating. And as we continue that step, as we go through, we're going to get closer and closer to what we have determined as the golden ratio. Mathematically, the golden ratio is defined as 1 plus the square root of 5 divided by 2. But we actually see us converging on that ratio in the Fibonacci sequence if we do those division problems. And so this ratio has kind of an artistic value. It's considered beautiful. And just to kind of get what that might look like in picture form, we have, if you are talking about the ratio of A to B, A here is the 1.618 segment, and B is the 1 segment. And then that ratio actually repeats itself, so if you have, then you could take A to A plus B, and that'll have the same proportion. And then again, 1 to 1.618. So we see that on the Apple iCloud. And that's not by accident, they did that on purpose, because they know it looks nice. And they're kind of design gurus there. And we also see it on art. Notice the middle one is the one that has been designed, and it has a ratio from his kind of torso to his knees of 1, and then his knees to his torso to his feet of 1.618. And then similarly, you can take torso to feet compared to the entire length of the body, and it'll also be 1 to 1. It'll also be the golden ratio of 1 to 1.618. And the other two on the left and the right have been where they've skewed the ratio on some level. And I don't know how well you can see it, but you can kind of tell that this guy on the left has an awkwardly long torso, and the guy on the right has some very chicken-style knees. and so there's some relevance to this ratio in art. All right, let's take those Fibonacci numbers again and make them into squares. And those squares, if we put them next to each other, will continually build rectangles. We call these rectangles the golden rectangles. And they can continue on. We've got one, and we could add on the next one, a 13 by 13 if we wanted to, but let's go on. And we see this in the architecture. This is the Parthenon, and the Greeks. The Greeks were well aware of this ratio and actually used it in their architecture. And Notre Dame has several of these ratios built into it. All right. Also, if we take those rectangles and now we connect them with like one line, sort of drawn at a curve, that will create what we call the golden spiral. And it's a very proportional spiral, and we can see that all over the place in nature. We see that in, I think this is a nautilus shell and egg, how most galaxies form, or some form of a golden ratio. Human ear, famous art, and one of my favorite video game characters. So, all right, let's look at one other mathematical pattern that I think is rather interesting. This is the Pascal's triangle, and it's formed again by an addition pattern. We have ones on both the right and the left side of the triangle, and if we add the two top numbers together, we'll get that next number down. So you can kind of see the GIF is showing you how that works. And Pascal's triangle has a ton of applications in advanced algebra and probability, but we're going to just talk about some cool number patterns that go with it. So if you go on to the next slide, you can see a Pascal's triangle that's built much farther down. And go ahead. And if you take diagonals and add them together on the Pascal's triangle, you're going to get that same Fibonacci sequence. And it's kind of a fun trait of the triangle. Also, if you add horizontally across each of the Pascal triangle rows, you're going to get the powers of 2. So 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, so on and so forth. And there's many more of these little things that happen, but one of my favorites is if you color the odd numbers one color and the even numbers a different color, you'll get what appears here. And that's the same as the Sierpinski triangle, which is a fractally triangle. And one way to think of even and odd numbers is if you divide by 2, you divide an odd number by 2, you'd have a remainder of 1. And if you divide an even number by 2, you'd have a remainder of 0. So we're coloring in peach the remainder 1s, and in blue the remainder 0s. And that creates this Sierpinski triangle style picture. And if we change that same coloring pattern, but now we're going to do divide by 3, and the ones that have a remainder 1 is in pink, the ones that have a remainder 2 is in yellow, and the ones that have a remainder of 0 are in turquoise. And they're just zooming out on the actual triangle to give you that effect. And again, it creates kind of a nifty little pattern. And one more, this is for dividing by 5. And again, we've sorted out the remainders of 1, 2, 3, and 4 this time, and 0. And 0 is the turquoise, 1 is the pink, 2 is yellow, and I have to think about it, 3 I think is maroon in this case. So, and I just show these to you so you can kind of appreciate that. A similar thing happens if we did it with 7s and 11s and any other prime number, but the patterns get a little more complex, but you're still going to see kind of a vestige of that Sierpinski triangle showing up. All right, so hopefully this has helped a little bit. Maybe not best friends with math yet, but maybe you can be acquaintances. And yes, math is practical, math is relevant, but what I hope you can take away is that it's also fascinating, that it's interesting on its own accord. I certainly think it is, so.
Thank you, Erin. I know I'm more friends with math now. No, I think that is just a great example of sharing something that you're really passionate about, and I think that's what we're here for as a community, is to share things we're passionate about and learn from each other. I think we're going to have the band back up here for another song. Yay! What do you got for us, David?
This one, if you cast your minds back, the 1950s, there's a movie with Danny Kaye about the life of Hans Christian Andersen. It wasn't exactly a very faithful adaptation of Hans Christian Andersen's life. It took some liberties. But there's this beautiful song in towards the middle of the movie where Hans Christian Andersen is kind of having a low point. He's just been kicked out of being a school teacher, and he walks past the schoolhouse where he used to teach, and he hears the children singing this song. He looks at it and he sees like the stern schoolmaster like looking over the kids, like slapping rulers down while the kids are singing. He goes out and he sees his friend sitting outside like looking at a flower, and he sings a song that goes along with what the children are singing. It's a beautiful moment. So we're going to teach you the children's song, and then we're going to go into the song that Danny Kaye sings. It's a song about the inchworm.
2 and 2 are 4, 4 and 4 are 8, 8 and 8 are 16, 16 and 16 are 32, 2 and 2 are 4, 4 and 4 are 8, 8 and 8 are 16, 16 and 16 are 32. Inchworm, inchworm, Each one measuring the marigolds. You and your arithmetic, you'll probably go far. Each one measuring the marigolds. Seems to me you stop and see how beautiful they are. 2 and 2 are 4, 4 and 4 are 8, 8 and 8 are 16, 16 and 16 are 32. Each one measuring the marigolds. You and your arithmetic, you'll probably go far. Each one measuring the marigolds. Seems to me you'd stop and see how beautiful they are. 2 and 2 are 4, 4 and 4 are 8, 8 and 8 are 16, 16 and 16 are 32.
I don't know about you, but I was kind of going in tears a little bit at the end of that. It was Inchworm and the Marigolds. 32. Well, next is part of our program is X's doing their best, and that is a thing that was all the way from the beginning that we wanted to have a part of our program where someone from the community shared something about their life in a time when they were doing their best, and you don't always succeed in life, but hopefully we can always learn for something. And today we have one of our members, Evan Stewart, is going to come up and he's going to share with us a time in his life when he was doing his best and what he learned from it. Thanks, Evan.
Hi folks, how's everybody doing? Woo! Yeah! Woo! I like it, there we go. So, this talk is going to have very little to do with math. I am a graduate student at the University of Minnesota. I do some math, and all the math I do is really depressing. Because I study sociology. So So, the Sunday Assembly, as most of you know, but if you're new here, welcome. The Sunday Assembly is a politically neutral organization. It's this wonderful coming together of community. It's religiously neutral too. These are all beautiful things. But I study politics and religion, and a little bit of sexuality. So I'm the worst choice for a speaker because I'm quite literally getting a PhD in impolite dinner conversation. But I want to thank you here for having me speak today. I'd like to tell a bit of a story. Lately I've been thinking a lot about process, right? So how we do the things we do in life, right? And we've been thinking about process here as we lead up to the big launch of Sunday Assembly, which is in September. What's the date again?
September 28th.
September 28th, yeah. And we often think about doing your best when we're facing like big challenges, right? When we have a big project, when we're really putting our shoulder to the wheel and there's a challenge or, something we're undertaking. But it's also August and late summer and it's hot and tiring and we're all just kind of, relaxed a little bit too. So I thought it's a good time to kick back. And we don't normally think about process when we're not doing much, right? Like, I'm gonna drink this cup of coffee and I'm gonna do it really well, right? But since everything's kind of slow, I'd like to take some time to talk about a time I had coffee with an old friend. It really got me thinking about practice and doing your best. So a few weeks ago, I heard from this old friend from high school out of the blue, got a message online, and it turns out he had been living in Minnesota for a couple months, and he was about to move out of town for work, and wanted to meet up and catch up and have coffee. And I was like, sure, that'd be great. I'd love to. And so, you know, we set a date, a couple days, and then I immediately started having anxiety about it. And I don't know if any of you have ever had this, but I think this is fairly common. We hadn't seen or spoken to each other in a good 7 years, right? So I had no idea where this guy was in his life. I think I know where I was, but you know, we're still working on that. To give you some context here, we were in high school choir together, and then he graduated and poof, no contact. Of course, today, since we have Facebook, we can all be accused of mildly stalking now and again. So I had, you know, kept tabs on him, and I assume he had kept tabs on me. And it turns out that we had had radically different life paths over those 7 years. I graduated from high school a few years after him. I went to college. The standard story: loved, lost, managed to balance a GPA with alcohol. Got a degree, applied to grad school, came over here to Minnesota. And sociology, the data shows somewhat depressingly that that's not normal. That's not the normal life course for people my age because of economics. But it felt normal at the time, right? And I also had a reputation from high school all through college for being pretty staunchly secular, right? Our senior year, my college roommate, who's still my best friend, came out to me. He said, "Evan, we need to talk. There's something I need to share with you. I'm going into the priesthood." I said, "It's okay, I support you." There's much hugging. It's great, solidarity. And so while I was gallivanting around in the land of bad alcohol and Nietzsche, this guy from high school got married, had 2 kids, and was now a commissioned officer in the Salvation Army. And I had known this, you know, keeping tabs with him on Facebook. He was doing really well, beautiful family. But I was having all of this anxiety. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced this, but that sort of, what's this going to be like? That awkward moment, you know, oh, this is going to be awkward. We have nothing in common now. What on earth are we going to talk about? How long until he tries to convert me? All of these questions just rolling around in my head, right? And so I decide, okay, we're just going to do this and see what happens. So I go, we meet for coffee. I get there a little bit early. It's bad to give me caffeine when I'm sitting around early waiting for something to happen, you know, jitters start. But he shows up and we start talking. And we keep talking. And we keep talking. We talk about everything. We talk about what we've been up to, what we're doing. He talks about the charity he works for. I talk about the studies I read about charities. Because that's really all you can do when you're an academic. Like, oh yeah, I know research about that. And we keep talking all through coffee for hours. And then we go have lunch. We go have lunch and we keep talking. We talk theology, we talk politics, we talk everything. And we killed a good half the day together. And it was effortless. It's absolutely effortless. And at the end of it, you know, we both just felt so refreshed and good and nourished. And he took off. And I tell this story now, this story sticks with me now because I realize that oftentimes about community building or, you know, catching up with people, reconnecting or crossing boundaries or whatever you want to call it, we think about this as something we really need to work on. And it does take effort. It takes effort to put that stuff together. It takes effort to bring people together. As I'm sure the organizers of the Sunday Assembly can tell you, it takes a lot of effort. And I don't want to downplay that at all. But what this made me think about is the process of actually doing community once you've done all the effort to like lay the groundwork, right? And that the best thing that you can really do is just let it be effortless. Just don't overthink it and just do it. Which, for myself, that's hard. That's something very difficult to say. Like, just stop thinking, right? So, that kind of, you know, effortless connection, I think, is something we can all strive for. It's something I found that was really important, and thought you'd all appreciate that. I leave you now with one statistic that I know that's still very depressing, but right now in the United States, the most distrusted minority groups are religious minorities and non-religious minorities, right? Which is surprising. We often think that it would be something along racial lines or class lines or politics or something like that, but no, it's about religion. And so when we think about interacting with people and building community and trying to build diversity and richness into our lives, I think let it be effortless, right? I think that's one of the best ways we can overcome depressing stats like that. Thanks.
Thanks for that reminder, Evan, to not try so hard sometimes when we're trying to connect with people and just let things flow, and it's okay if they don't love me right away and it's a little awkward. I really appreciate that. Now is the time in our service where we take a little bit of time, 2 minutes, no more, because we can't handle that in America, but we take 2 minutes to just take a deep breath. And if you want, you can close your eyes, but to just reflect. And you can choose to reflect about something in your life. You can choose to reflect about maybe how, there's something in your life that someone told you you just can't do, or that's something you believe in, and maybe think about that and maybe how that's not true. Maybe there's something out there you really want to try. Or think about what Evan shared about connecting with someone, and just kind of letting that space breathe there. So we're just going to take 2 minutes and start now. Thank you for taking a little time out, just kind of reflect. Part of what we do here is try to thread a little better, and I think taking a little time out of our day and just kind of reflecting helps us do that. Next we have Matthew to share a quick little game I think he has for us to help us meet our neighbors, help do that connecting. So as Evan said, just let it roll.
Is that what he said? Okay.
As he implied.
All right. Look at your table. It's a nice table, it's a flat table, but there's something on it. Actually, there's 2 things on it that you want to be aware of, and those are dice. If you only have 1, it's a die. If you have 2, it's dice. So, I want you to take those 2 dice. We're going to play a quick game called Roll and Tell. Now, you all know about the game Show and Tell, where you bring something to school and you share it with others. So what we're going to do now is, at your table, you're each going to take a turn. You're going to roll the dice, and they're going to come up with numbers. Magic. With that number, I want you to tell something, just a very brief story, a sentence or 2, that has something to do with those numbers about yourself. You might roll a 1 and a 3, and you look at them and say, when I was 4 years old, blah, 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 whatever. Or, I have 1 dog and 3 cats. Or, you put them together and say 13, and say something about being 13. Use the numbers somehow to describe yourself. Don't try to overthink it. Just share a little something with each other, and just go around the table, and we'll be done.
All right.
Okay, any questions?
1 minute for your first roll. Go.
Go.
sister had a dog, but that was not my dog. That was explicitly not my dog.
Oh. Older sister?
Younger.
Wow.
I don't know what we're doing.
Okay. We'll go this way around. Oh, 10.
64 or 46 or 4.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Should I subtract them?
or 2.
Sure. Oh,
Just something good numbers.
I don't think of my life in numbers, thank God.
Or negative.
-2.
oh.
It's so hot today, I wish it was -2 out. Done. I know I will. But it's up in the future. Regret away. What'd you get?
2 and 2 again.
22. 0. 2 to the power of 2.
I'm
2 divided by 2.
thinking of a movie I saw. The movie Murder by Death.
The what?
Murder by Death.
Murder by Death?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a spoof. I enjoyed the movie. They bring together all of the big sleuths, you know, Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple and this and that and the other people, and someone stages a murder for them. And Charlie Chan, when he's coming up to the house where this thing is to be held, they're driving up and looking at the addresses. And the address is 22. And he looks, and the person's name is Twain. This is the host of the party. It says 22 Twain's house. It's not really about me, but I just stuck with me, you know. It's, yeah,
Is that a pun or something?
it's a fun, yeah, like choo choo train, you know. Choo choo train.
There you go. See, I didn't get that.
Alright.
I guess that's a 6.
I don't know. I guess maybe this is what I think of. So, 6 minus 4, and it's one of my work days, and my favorite older, younger, both? They're all 3 are young.
When I was 15, we were talking about this. I was talking about classic, like favorite concerts we've gone to when we were younger, and I was reminiscing about at the age of 15 is when I was like very much into like the heavy metal and very into that. I remember like going to a lot of concerts at that time and getting a lot of bruises, yeah, from like mosh pits and stuff. And those are some of the most entertaining concerts I've been to.
People actually dance at those kinds of concerts.
That's weird for getting bruised at music concerts. Ooh, 22.
All right, 30 seconds left. Seconds. No pressure.
Except for
Like
Ten seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Hey, so that's about it. We've got a couple announcements. The big one is September 28th. Put it on your calendar. Save the date. That is going to be the big launch of Sunday Assembly. We've learned a lot the last few meetings. Typically we meet once a month, but next month it'll be September 28th, so we've got a bit of time to kind of gear up and prepare. We're working on some media contacts. So you know, 100
Sunday Assembly is going to be launching around the world. So this is a global movement, what they call of good and wonder. So, I mean, if you just kind of pause and think about that for a second, that's really awesome. 100 of these kinds of meetings are going to be happening around the world in big cities. So we get to be a part of that. We're looking at really getting a lot of people involved for the next time, and you know, if everyone just invited one of their friends, you know, that would double our size, and that would really pack this room up. I think we can get even bigger once we get the news out there. And the idea is, you know, the point isn't just to be big, but it's really to connect with people out there. I know Aaron and I were really looking for kind of a secular community that we could belong to and talk about things with, and you know, and have fun together. And so we really just want to get the word out there in the Twin Cities that something like this exists for people, and you don't just have to go to church to find that kind of community. That's what I have to share about that. Also, September 14th, there is a meetup for Sunday Assembly. People are going to go out to the Arboretum. So if you've never been there, it's a great place. If you're a photographer, take pictures of all the flowers and the beauty in nature. And so it's just a chance to wonder more. I also want to say, if you would like to get involved in helping put Sunday Assembly on, we are all volunteers. No one gets paid from Sunday Assembly, and so this only happens when people get involved. And I just, you know, I want to thank all the people that have been involved, especially our video guys that don't always get some credit. Dan there in the corner has taped every Sunday Assembly so far. And that's really important because we need to show London that we're not, you know, using this as a platform for some kind of political thing, so they can kind of certify us. And then we also have Tom Mullen over here, and Keith Mullen and Tom Sullivan. Sorry, I was getting them confused there. They're helping out with the media team, so we're getting some footage, and we're going to do a kind of a promo video, and we've got some things planned along those lines as well. If you want to get involved with that, contact me. If you'd like to get involved in the event itself, contact Matthew Hertz, matthew.hertz@gmail.com. And if you want to be a part of the band and singing, or you play an instrument, contact Aaron. And Nancy, who's not here today, is kind of in charge of the hospitality stuff, all the cookies and refreshments that we have. Anything else I'm forgetting? Just one other thing. If you see these cute little pigs, they're not just for decoration. They also take your money. And we don't like to make that a big deal around here because it's really not about making money. Like I said, we're all volunteers, but it does cost some things to put things on, and some of this equipment that we have here, we've had to pay for out of our own pockets, and eventually we need kind of some money to be able to fund what we do in putting on these events. This room itself has a $250 kind of rental tag that we haven't been charged yet, but it will be soon. But we want to thank the Unitarian Church for allowing us to be here for free for the time being. So anyway, all the boring stuff is over now, and I just want to really thank you all for being here, because I've had a lot of fun today. You know, we've had some really quirky songs about math, and you know what? I want to sing that Inchworm song again. You know, it's kind of in my head now. And you know, Erin really shared with us, I think, something that she's passionate about, and that's kind of what Sunday Assembly is about, is coming together with people because we're human, not because we have a particular doctrine or dogma or moment. My mic died. Hello, is this one up? Hello? I'm loud, so you don't have to worry about that. I lost my train of thought. Yes, so we're all passionate about something, and you know, I think we all want a community that's open to learning from others. And yeah, math may not be my thing, and you know, mountain biking might not be your thing, but if we can all kind of share and learn from each other, I think that's a really great thing. And so as we go today, I just really encourage you to build that kind of community here. We're going to welcome the band up one more time for our closing song, and then stay around for cookies and refreshments and get to know each other a little bit more. Thank you.
Everyone stand up.
Oh, yeah.
are we living for? I say we chuck inhibitions and sell our souls for rock and roll. I need to know what I'm missing. Turn it up on the stereo. Somebody light the ignition. What the hell are we waiting for? It's time to make a decision. I'm feeling the world go round. It's spinning me upside down. I'm finally homeward bound. I'm not giving up. It's crawling under my skin, and I don't care if I sin. I really want it. I really want it. I really want it right now. I really want it right now. If there's a maker up above, then why is nobody listening? You show me hate and I'll show you love. It's not about your religion. We're always looking for someone else. Just take a look in the mirror. 'Cause all you need is inside yourself. You couldn't be any clearer. Now, I'm feeling the world go round. It's spinning me upside down. I'm finally homeward bound. I'm not giving up. It's crawling under my skin, and I don't care if I see it. I really want it. I really want it. I really want it right now. I really want it right now. The more we love, the more we learn. The more we love, the more we burn. The more we love. Tell me, what are we living for? I say we chuck inhibitions and sell our souls to rock and roll. I need to know what I'm missing. So turn it up on the stereo. Somebody light the ignition. What the hell are you waiting for? It's time to make a decision. I'm feeling the world go round. It's taking me upside down. I'm finally homeward bound. I'm not giving up. It's crawling under my skin, and I don't care if I sin. I really want it. I really want it. I really want it right now. 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 I really want it right now.
Thank you all for coming. Hope I get to meet some of you. So, cookies and brownies and lemonade.
Brownies and lemonade, oh my.